mixed martial arts cage fight, I decided to quit. My plan was to get into business school and then pivot my career toward an area of finance called investment management, a sector that was worlds apart in terms of culture. From what I could tell, investment management had a vibe that felt less like a death match and more like the world of professional tennis, competitive and demanding, yet in a civilized setting. After all the time and expense the company had invested in my London training, I was sure my bosses would be furious that I was leaving the 2-year program early. I steeled myself for the recriminations sure to come. To my surprise, they never did. Instead, the executive managing director to whom I submitted my resignation responded wistfully, "We'll miss you, Manisha, but good for you. Get out before you have a family and they get so used to the kind of money and lifestyle this brings that you can't get out." It almost felt as if I were escaping some kind of cult. In fact, as word of my leaving trickled out, 2 additional highly respected executives each brought me into their offices, shut their doors, and bid me farewell with nearly identical sentiments. They both said it with such a mix of bitterness and resignation that I can still hear their prescient warnings today. Get out while you can. Unfortunately, I never did get out. In time, I became so plagued by my own toxic beliefs around money, work, and success that I spent the next 2+ decades working even harder than I had on Wall Street. So much so that I woke up at age 49 to discover I had ended up trapped in a cult of my own making, the cult of never enough. To put it simply, no matter how much money I earned, accomplishments I achieved, or praise I received, it was never enough to make me feel whole inside. I was stuck on the proverbial hamster wheel, running as hard as I could, but never arriving at the finish line. All this misguided energy resulted in working myself, quite literally, to the brink of death. And my experience is not unique. Similar stories are being told right now across podcasts, magazine articles, and newspaper op-eds. People everywhere are quitting their jobs and trying to do less, play more, and embrace practices ranging from positive psychology to meditation in an attempt to experience life as human beings, not just human doings. Yet, it's still not working. Too many of us are suffering from a deeply rooted internal pressure to do more, earn more, achieve more, be more. And what is the result of all this achieving? Burnout, depression, loneliness, and a sense that no matter what we do, it's just never enough. As a longtime member of the cult, I've struggled with these exact same feelings. But today, I am finally free. I can look back at the decisions that drove my prior destructive behaviors with serenity and grace. And what I've come to realize is that far too many of us live our lives to optimize the soul-destroying equation of self-worth equals net worth. That's why I have written this book. I want to share a new equation, one that liberated me and will empower and set you free as well. Financial health plus emotional wealth equals Moneyzen. Moneyzen is a concept I coined roughly a decade ago to describe a brand of financial well-being that focuses on financial health as a precursor to emotional wealth. Back then, I'd tell anyone who'd listen that Moneyzen was a harmonious state of mind, one in which you'd finally found a sense of calm, confidence, and clarity around the role that money plays in your life. That definition remains spot on. But in retrospect, there was a flaw in my thinking when it came to the actions required to fully achieve this state. My mistake was believing that simply acquiring greater knowledge about personal finance, the money part of the phrase, would naturally yield a byproduct of calm and control, or Zen. Said differently, I thought that mastering things like successful debt management and sound